What's up, everybody? Jordan McAbee here, lead NASCAR analyst for RotoBaller. And after a relatively unpredictable race at Texas, with Chase Elliott getting back to victory lane for the first time in over a year, we now head to the very unpredictable Talladega Superspeedway in the Geico 500 this weekend for our second, kind of third Superspeedway race of the season. So we had the Daytona 500 to kick off 2024. We then went to Atlanta, which is a mile and a half and has been converted into somewhat of a superspeedway race, but not a full superspeedway like we're used to with Daytona and Talladega. Now, the thing about Talladega, the thing about Daytona is this completely opens up the driver field. Anybody in this field can win. Anybody in this field can finish inside the top 10. It makes it very fun to make DFS lineups, to create DFS lineups this week and play those contests. It does not make it very fun in the betting world. Like, obviously, we can hit some long shots this week. We can, get some of those fun bets in. But the fact of the matter is we don't really have an edge this week because it's all so unpredictable. So a lot of bettors, myself included, are going to take a step back this week. We're going to just enjoy the race. I myself am going to more so play DFS, and we'll get into a little bit of those strategies a little bit later. But we are going to look at and break down some of these favorites for Talladega, some of the guys that I'm targeting heading into the race weekend. The thing to remember here at Talladega first, though, is starting position does not matter. It doesn't matter where anybody starts. The only thing that starting position matters is with DFS and scoring purposes for that and the strategies you make to create those lineups. But as far as who's going to win this race, qualifying does not matter. Practice speeds do not matter. They matter so little, they're not even practicing this weekend. There's no practice scheduled, no practice session scheduled. They will not be on track to schedule because it doesn't matter. The only thing that they would do that people don't like is they wish they could shake the cars down and make sure there's no issues with the cars and have a practice session for that. But these cars don't need any practice. It doesn't do anything for these guys. That's how little it matters. It's all about, how the race plays out and whether these guys can avoid those big wrecks, because we're sure to see at least one big wreck here on Sunday at Talladega. But let's get into talking some of these early week favorites. Like I said, there are a lot of data and statistics that you can look at when it comes to NASCAR and justify why you like drivers. And I'm going to hit on those when talking about these drivers coming up. But it doesn't really matter at Talladega. It doesn't really matter at Daytona. But you need something to justify why you like guys. So that's why I'm going to say it. I know I'm going to sound a little hypocritical saying all these numbers don't matter, and I'm going to sit here and spew out some of these numbers. But you need something to justify. The favorite this week is Ryan Blaney. He's at 11-1. You'll notice there are no single-digit favorites this week like we're typical at a NASCAR race weekend. No single-digit favorites, and that's just because of the unpredictability of these races. With that being said, Ryan Blaney is the shortest this week, 11-1, sitting there on Thursday morning. He's finished first or second in the last 3 Talladega races. 3-time winner here, all within the last 9 races at Talladega. He has the third best average running position at Daytona and Talladega since the start of 2023. So very good there. As is his teammate Joey Logano. He's sitting at 12-1. He's led the most laps at Daytona earlier this year from the pole. He's led 10 or more laps in 10 of the last 15 races here at Talladega, and he's a 3-time winner here. Obviously, he should be a contender when it comes to the Geico 500 on Sunday. Brad Keselowski, 6-time winner at Talladega, over 30 career starts. He becomes one of the more popular picks in DFS just because of his name, so I have a tendency to stay away from him there. But he's a decent betting option. He's sitting at 12-1. Obviously, I'm not going to bet it. It's too short for me. But Keselowski, 6-time winner here. He knows how to get it done at Talladega. As does Denny Hamlin, one of the best superspeedway racers in the series. He's at 14-1. He's usually better at Daytona, but he's a 2-time winner here at Talladega. He's finished 7th or better in 6 of the last 9 races here. So Hamlin should be a contender in that number 11 Toyota this weekend as well. Another guy I'm looking at that's popping earlier in this week is Kyle Busch. He won here at Daytona last season. I know RCR has not been good lately, so some people are kind of discarding them early. Talladega is a great equalizer. This is a great place for Kyle Busch and Austin Dillon to get back on track. Kyle Busch sitting at 16-1. Like I said, he won here last season. 4th best average running position at Daytona and Talladega since the start of 2023. And what I really like about Kyle Busch is his average running position is almost 13 positions better than his average starting position, which tells me he does not qualify very well, but he likes to get to the front. He likes to run up front. If you're running up front, you're more likely to stay out of the wrecks. You're more likely to finish up front at the end. So I like the guys that are aggressive and like to get to the front. but that does have some downsides. If they are aggressive, then there's a tendency to be in more wrecks as well. So you have to consider that. Somewhat of a long shot this weekend that I like, that is popping in my early pre-practice, pre-qualifying, I guess, this week algorithm, is Martin Truex Jr. 25-1. Now, why it likes it so much, I'm not 100% sure. Martin Truex Jr. has 0 wins at super speedways in his entire career, 76 combined starts between Daytona and Talladega, but it's not because of lack of effort. We saw Truex almost win a Daytona 500 before. Best average running position at Daytona and Talladega since the start of 2023. Like I said, if you run up front, you're more likely in position to be there to get the race win at the end. So Truex, 25-1. That's one bet that I have put in this week just to have some action this week. I did bet Truex. Getting further into the long shots, this is the week where we definitely take a look at these long shots. Todd Gilliland sitting at 50-1. Remember back to Atlanta, which is, not a full super speedway, but a quasi, speedway. Who led the most laps? Todd Gilliland. He led 58 laps there. He led 16 laps at Daytona this year in the Daytona 500. His last 3 finishes here at Talladega, 12th, 10th, and 7th. People are starting to get a hold that Todd Gilliland is a good super speedway racer. They're starting to flock to him. Is he going to win this race? No, he's still a long shot. He's still sitting there at 50-1, but very decent option if you want to bet on someone that is going to be kind of a surprise winner and could shake up these playoffs. Same with Corey LaJoie. Corey LaJoie has legitimately been one of the best super speedway racers and one of the best DFS plays over the last few years at these racetracks. He's also sitting at 50-1, 16th or better in 8 of the last 10 races at Daytona. Kind of like Denny Hamlin, he's better at Daytona. But LaJoie did finish 4th here at Talladega last fall. And like I said, he's been one of the best at super speedways. What he typically does is he avoids the wrecks and then gets there at the end. When it comes to bets this week, I do have a few bets in. I track them on the Action app. Make sure you follow me there. But John Hunter Nemechek, top Toyota, 25-1 earlier in the week. He was 7th at Daytona earlier this year. With such a small such a small Toyota field, there's only 8 drivers that drive Toyotas. 25-1 is just too long, especially when it's very unpredictable racetrack on who's actually going to, be the highest finisher of those. Do I think John Hunter Nemechek is going to be the highest finisher in Toyota? No, but is it possible? Yeah, and I'm going to bet that 25-1 on that. Another bet that I have in, Noah Gragson plus 135 over Ty Gibbs. Here's the thing with head-to-head bets. I really don't care. We talked about this on Stacking Denny's, our podcast this week, me and Nick Giffen from the Action Network. I really don't care who is in a head-to-head. If you're giving me plus 135, plus 140 odds on one side on what's essentially a coin flip, because we don't know whether either of these guys could get pulled up in a wreck or, just have any kind of issues happen. If you're giving me those type of odds, it doesn't make sense because it is essentially a coin flip. So I did take Gragson plus 135 over Ty Gibbs. And like I said, Martin Truex Jr., 25-1. I did bet that. I actually got it on Fanatics and they had a boost going on. So I was able to get it to 30-1. And that's just, just based on the fact that he's been running well at super speedways lately. Like I said, this is a great week to take a step back, not bet as much, but this is also a very fun week to play DFS. This is one of those weeks where it's fun to make hundreds and hundreds of lineups if you want to and just enter them everywhere. If you have a good strategy, and we'll talk about this with my premium article and any other content that I put out for RotoBaller this week. If you have a good strategy and you make some good rules with your lineup, you're able to generate a ton of random lineups and hopefully go for those big prizes and then just hope for the best during this race. So make sure you pay attention to RotoBaller this weekend. All of the analysis when it comes to DFS and a little bit of betting for Talladega. And good luck, because we're all going to need it with how unpredictable and how big these wrecks can get at Talladega. So good luck to everybody this weekend at Talladega. Enjoy the race, and we'll be back for next week at Dover.